Hello and welcome once again to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about 3 Y's you need to discuss during onboarding as a freelancer. Let's get into it. Why number one is your job description. Be very sure about your job description. What exactly do they want you to do? There are some very vague job description that be like, oh, I need a social media manager. And then when you get into there, you see that you are a social media manager, you're a content writer, you're a graphic designer, you're a video editor, you're a video creator, you're a content creator, you're the face of the brand, you are the copywriter, you work on the website, you do blog posts. Why? Because you didn't get the exact job description you need. Some job description, when you're a social media manager, they'll be like, oh, we already have a video editor, we already have a graphic designer, we already have a content creator, we just need you to create content strategies, manage the brand, post, check the insights, work on what works, and give to the various team members to work on other things. So you know the specific job description that you're doing, the specific job that is yours, so that you don't get overwhelmed and you don't get underpaid while you are overworking. That's like one of like the worst thing that happens to you as a freelancer, because if a freelancer, you're working alone, you're not working for a company, you're working for an agency, you speak for yourself, you're for yourself. And so if you get into a contract where you don't understand what exactly you're supposed to give, and then they end up overworking you, you're going to be frustrated, and you may even be frustrated enough to leave that job even halfway. So get the exact thing that is your job description, know exactly what they want you to do. And then next, you know your expectation and their expectation. When it comes to your expectation and their expectation, your expectation can be in form of how much you want them to pay you, what exactly you're willing to do, and what you're not willing to do. Like when it comes to you want them to pay you 100,000 naira for being their community manager, but even as a community manager, you're only going to do comment sections and you're going to do DMs and until 9 p.m. After 9 p.m. you're not working there, you're not going to answer the DMs and the comment sections comments again. Or as a community manager, you don't reply to DMs, you reply to only comments. Or as a community manager, you reply to only comments and DM on social media. If they're doing any other thing, like maybe hosting a meeting or maybe hosting a seminar, it is not part of the contract you have. They're going to have to pay you separately for that. Those are your expectations as their community manager. This is what you want. They're already giving you their job description. You already know what the job description is, and they are telling them, okay, in this job description, this is what exactly I want. It can be added to your contract, but it can be added to your contract, and this is how you want it to be. And then they will tell you their expectation. Maybe they tell you, oh, we all expect you to always reply to every comment every 2 hours. We expect you to always answer the DMs every 2 hours. We don't want to see any DM that is older than 2 hours. We don't want to see any comments that is older than 2 hours, something like that. Or they can be like, oh, we expect you to also reply to comments and DMs whenever we are hosting seminars on other different platform. Or we expect you to reach out to audience and tell them about our seminar. We expect you to organize and host a seminar. So they're telling you their expectation. You are telling them your expectation. You already have the job description as a community manager, but you are not telling them, okay, this is what I can do, this is what I expect to do, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to be willing to do. And they're telling you, okay, this is what we expect from you too. And the next thing you have to know is your boundaries. Your boundaries, because sometimes some brands or some clients do not know how to respect your boundaries. Let's say some of them will be like, if you don't set that boundaries, if you don't know your boundaries for you to set them, you're going to see somebody calling you by 12 a.m. to ask you about a content you posted by 5 p.m. and somebody calling you by 11 p.m. to ask you about a post. This is like maybe you have closed for the day, you are with your family, you're trying to be present with your family, and a client is calling you to start working on the content by 11 p.m. in the night. So you have to know your boundaries. Some people be like, oh, no phone calls after 7 p.m, no text messages after 9 p.m. Some people be like, oh, no phone calls at all, we only communicate via WhatsApp, or we only communicate via Slack, or we only communicate via Telegram, or we only communicate via Instagram DMs, or we only communicate via emails. So you have to know your boundaries, especially when it comes to like communication. Some of them will be like, oh, I will need the clients will be like, oh, I will need my content sent to me 2 weeks before so I can shoot. And some you as the person working for her will be like, oh, we will need videos from you 1 week before posting date so we can edit. So you give boundaries of things you want and things you don't want, and limits to things, and this like make things easier for you and also for the clients. These are like a very, very short content just to help freelancers and know that things that you have to put into perspective when you are signing a contract or when you're working with a client, because most of the time this leaves you frustrated in a task that maybe you're underpaid, maybe even if you are being paid well, the workload is so much because nobody has boundaries. You will tell somebody, oh, send in this content by 1 week before posting. The person is sending the content for you on posting day with 3 hours before posting time, and you're rushing to start editing, you're rushing to start working on it, and it's like a stressor to you. So you have your boundaries, and try to maintain those boundaries. They help to make your job easier. So I hope you learned a thing or two, and tell me if you have ever had a client that crossed the boundary. I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.